What we do here is go back.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to episode 76 of the Lost Media Podcast. Today we're talking about Popeye 2015, or Popeye 2022, if you want to count the animatics movie release. This is a very, very crazy piece of lost media being uncovered unbelievably. You would never expect in a million years for this to be leaked online, and the full movie and its animatic, just in an animatic form, was released in 2022. It isn't easy to find online though now, but it is online still. It is being re-uploaded and shared and saved online. Heaps of people downloaded it and saved it, so there's no worries with that. But Sony Pictures Animation deleted it off YouTube not long after it was uploaded. The general gist of this, Popeye was a movie that was designed to be released in 2015 by Sony Pictures Animation. The Emoji Movie did not replace Popeye. That is a common misconception. It was announced a few months after Popeye was cancelled, and Genndy Tartakovsky, very tough name to pronounce, who made the Hotel Transylvania movies and a lot of other animated films. He's worked on a lot of stuff, and he has a great list of films that he's made behind him. He was meant to direct this film. It is a very sad story of a movie that should have been released. It had to have been released, but it wasn't. And I remember the trailer coming out for Popeye, and I was like, no way, they're doing a Popeye movie? Like, hell yeah. But it never came to be. And how it never came to be is a very disappointing story. What basically happened at Sony Pictures Animation is the film has reached the end of its animatic stage. It's done all the voice acting, the original voice actors, not the other voice actors who are likely to replace the original ones. They've voice acted the animatic. That's finished, and so they premiere it to the execs at Sony Pictures Animation. Genndy Tartakovsky gets rave reviews for it. Everyone says it's fantastic after seeing it. They say they love it, and then he doesn't hear much back from people other than, we love it. And so he gets suspicious. He's like, this is not... I know when people just, say they love it. I just spat. Sorry about that. And they say, oh, it's good. It's a good movie. That's not enough. They're meant to talk about it more. They're meant to share ideas. This is not the creative process. People just saying, I love it. They're obviously bullshitting and obviously not saying what they really think. So he said, hey, I'm a grown man. I can take it. What do you think of this movie? Like, tell me. And they're like, oh, it's good. And he's like, no, come on, tell me. And they're like, well, none of us really like the Popeye idea. None of us are really invested in it. So Popeye was cancelled. Sony Pictures Animation held on to it, but they didn't want Genndy Tartakovsky's direction of the film. They held on to the rights to it until 2020 when it was given to the original rights holders of Popeye. And they were like, oh, thanks for the rights back. Genndy Tartakovsky, come back. We're getting you as director again. So completely just a middle finger to Sony Pictures Animation, who had made some garbage like the Emoji Movie, so screw them. And that gets released instead of this, which is a big shame. And so in 2022, Genndy is interviewed and they're like, so you've been working on this for the last 2 years with the original rights holders. How's it going? How's the Popeye movie trekking along? And he's like, that's not happening. It's never being released. We're sorry, guys. There's just no progress has been made on it and no one's going to watch it, unfortunately. Not that no one's going to watch it if it gets released. It's just we can't release it. No one's going to get to watch what has been made is what I mean to say. And what he pretty much said. So amazingly, 24 hours after this interview took place, the entire animatic that went for 90 minutes was uploaded to YouTube. And there were little cryptic initials in the name of the animatic. It was a video database title. So the original file has just been dumped. Hasn't been renamed Popeye 2015 movie. It's just been the original file and the little cryptic initials of the people who worked at Sony Pictures. The CEO and I think the executive of animation, their initials. It is pretty much presumed that it was them in the title because they're the people who have copies of the film. And it was just that. And yeah, I think it was just that in the title and also production codes. And no one knew about this for a few days. No one figured it out that this was Popeye 2015 until it caught wind and everyone was like, "Oh shit. Someone has dumped the Popeye 2015 movie in its animatic stage with the first choice for voice actors online. It's just there, and in an unfinished state, obviously in its animatic state, but it's still kind of watchable as a movie. And people watched this and had varying reactions. All Things Lost made a video about this and said that maybe after watching this, I believe it was better off unreleased because it's not as good as your best animated movies. Um, he thinks it wasn't as great, but another person uploaded a video about it. Ewan, his name is. I don't remember the last name. I don't remember his YouTube channel's full name, but he's a smaller YouTuber who made the Popeye. He talked about the leak of the Popeye movie, of course, and I think his video is playing behind me actually because it was a really, really good video. I thought it's definitely worth showing in this podcast. And he basically said, "This is really good. I like this movie." He had a completely different opinion to All Things Lost's opinion on this film. And he was a huge Popeye fan growing up, so of course he would have a more, I guess, liking to it and affliction to the movie. But he said, yeah, this is really, really good. And this thing would have never been good if it were actually finished. This is what a lot of people were saying. If this movie were finished and completed and then uploaded and then aired in theaters around the world, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as good because they would have changed so much from this original animatic and Genji Tartakovsky's vision. And the voice acting wouldn't have been as entertaining as it would have just been celebrity voices instead of the more talented animation voice actors that they got for this little test. I guess you could say rendering. Test animatic is what it's called. So there was conflicting opinions on whether or not this animatic was worthwhile. Should it have been a movie? Shouldn't have been? But everyone kind of agreed that this was probably the best form you'd ever get this Popeye movie in and the best version of this Popeye movie you were ever likely to get. So everyone sort of came to the conclusion that it was never getting any better than this. And some people believe that, hey, this isn't great. It needs improvement in a lot of areas. And some people believe if they tried to improve it, they just would have made it worse. So it's very fascinating. I have not seen it yet because I tried looking for it recently and I couldn't find it online very easily. When I say very easily, I literally couldn't find it online. I'm sure it's on torrenting websites and it exists somewhere. But yeah, haven't seen it yet. I'm interested in maybe giving it a watch. It is a bit nauseating to watch unfinished black and white animation. It's not really animated yet. But it's an interesting, different kind of form of a movie, which is why it's so cool that this was just dumped online. Something that Sony were trying to make money off and something that they wanted to be very profitable. They don't make any money from it. It just gets dumped and everyone still watched it. The people who want to watch it. So it's hilarious. One of the reasons why this movie was cancelled in 2015, Popeye was not a big enough entity anymore. It was bigger many more years ago. And they feared that this movie wouldn't make enough money. Obviously, money's the biggest contributing factor to a movie being cancelled in almost every single capacity and every single example. And Sony Pictures also thought it's just not as good as they wanted it to be, and they just weren't as, I guess, this is what they said to Gendy Tartakovsky, they just weren't as connected to this movie. They weren't as interested as they wanted to be with it. So, it gets canned. I remember around 2015 where everyone was just like, justice for Popeye. Popeye deserves its justice, and this was never released. This is bullshit. Amazingly, I never heard about this leak in 2022. I would have watched it if I heard about it when it happened. I would have watched the YouTube upload and then downloaded it. But yeah, it's a pretty crazy story, and it's a pretty crazy journey of a film. All I know is as well that Gendy, the director, was a fan of Popeye since he was a little kid, and this was the one project he believed he was destined to make, which is really sad that it never ended up being a proper movie. I really thought it would have been better off if he made this with a different production company and not Sony Pictures Animation, which isn't the most reputable animation company. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? Yeah. That's really all there is to it from off the top of my head. If I remember more details, this podcast will continue longer. But that's Popeye. All I can say is from my opinion, I remember Popeye from when I was a kid. I remember the character. I remember watching the old shorts because I was a huge fan of animation history. Like that stuff interested me. But I could see even when I was younger that this was a sign. It was a piece of its time period. But I think that the fact that this was a piece of its time period made it even more interesting that this was a proposed movie from Sony Pictures, and they were like, a lot of fans of animation were just like, damn, they're going after this, like they're going for every, you know, piece of childhood nostalgia for any fan of animation through its through its long history of animation. I think it's nearly 100 years old now, animation. It might be older than 100 years, though. Might have been animations before the 1920s. But this is one of the first. So everyone thought it was a really wholesome thing. But in a way, you could almost call it predictable that it would be cancelled. But considered that original trailer wasn't in animatic form and was in animated form as a little teaser version, yeah, you could guess that it wouldn't be cancelled, but it got cancelled, and that was Popeye. The sad, sad result of Popeye. I'm sorry I couldn't talk about the events of the movie. I did listen to reviews of the different parts of the film and the plot and what happens in it. But it's very hard to memorize that for a podcast where I don't keep notes and where I do it just off the top of my head, off what I've figured out and learnt from it over the past day. Haven't had very long to learn these topics I'm talking about today. And this was one of those ones where I know I'm still missing pieces of information I really wanted to include about this. But sadly, I've gone through it now. You can't turn back time. It's not going to happen. Popeye will never be released in its proper form. I don't know. Really, really cool. Actually, you know, what I really wanted to say about this before I finish off is it is very, very rare. It's extremely rare that you get a movie from a big company in an unfinished form being leaked online in full. It has never happened before, and it will probably never happen again. I think, and you guys can correct me on this, but I'm almost sure this is the one and only time that a movie that was never released had its full animatic and voice acting included, and the whole movie being leaked online. Incredible. It is amazing. And I'm pretty sure Gendy Tartakovsky was just so pissed off, and he was definitely involved in this leak because of how something that he was so close to, it's something that he really believed in and thought was a good work at the time of its cancellation. Thought it was going well so far. He was probably pissed off that got cancelled, which is fair enough, very fair enough. Amazing though, amazing that this got found. It's the most unlikely. I'd put it in the top 5 most unlikely pieces of lost media to become found in the history of lost media ever. Genuinely, I'd probably put it at number 5, but it's definitely extremely unlikely that a piece of lost media from a major film studio in Hollywood gets leaked. Like something like this, especially that's just in an unfinished form. Amazing. One of the most amazing leaks, one of the most amazing discoveries ever. Up there with the Wicked Witch's Sesame Street being leaked. It's incredible. The Sesame Street Wicked Witch episode, rather. Awesome stuff. Very, very cool. And what a way to end this run of recordings for the Lost Media podcast. Guys, something you don't know is that over the last few days, now I'm getting emotional. No, I'm not. That's my voice freaking being so exhausted from talking for the last hour continuously. I started at 3:01, it's now 4:01. On Monday, which was 2 days ago, I recorded 4 podcasts. Yesterday, I recorded 3 podcasts. Fuss. I see I can't even talk anymore. This is awful. Plus an audio recording, which is my audio commentary coming up on the channel. Oh, it's already been released. What am I talking about? Coming up for me recording this now. Already been released for you guys. And then today I recorded 4 podcasts, and this is the 4th. This is a crazy schedule, I know. Monday, 4. Tuesday, 3, plus an audio recording. Wednesday, 4. Ridiculous schedule, but I am feeling the burnout. I won't be burnt out in a few weeks. You guys, by the time this is uploaded, I will have been preparing future podcast episodes. But I wanted to record so many in such a short space of time because I figured it was it was a better idea to just release them over a period of time and just have a longer break from recording, because I have recorded 76 podcasts since April 10, and it's May 24, 2023. That's 7 weeks of podcasts. 76 podcasts in 7 weeks. Pat on the back. Fucking mental. And I know a lot of you, and I wasn't going to mention how many I recorded recently because a lot of you will start to think, oh, okay, the quality was definitely compromised. That's why you talked about those basic topics recently. I talked about those because they were on my list for a really long time, and I really wanted to talk about topics that made up of a 10-minute podcast and something really, straightforward. But yes, that is what... I like changing it up on the Lost Media podcast. Shoot me for changing it up and wanting to talk about something that had less information compared to Popeye or Crybaby Lane, which were a little bit of icebergs, actually. This is more like a separate podcast. I might make a little separate podcast about my journey of starting this YouTube channel after this episode. I will end this episode, though, by saying this is the last time at the end of a podcast. Last time I'm going to announce that, guys, there is a video coming out. There's 3 videos coming out very soon, and they are podcasts. They are not podcasts. See, this is how fucking dead I am from recording so much. They are videos that I'm recording with my mate over in New South Wales on my content adventure I'm going on next week, and they have nothing to do with Lost Media, but I'm really excited to release those, and I reckon you guys will love them. And that's it, and those are going to be great, and when you see those on the channel pop up, don't fret. That is the last time I'm going to say that. I've said it in so many podcasts. I cannot warn people enough. I can't warn people any more than I already have. There you go. One might already be uploaded by the time this is uploaded. Or probably not, actually. Definitely not. It will be uploaded in probably a week or 2 from now. That's it. Thanks for watching episode 76. Episode 77 and beyond should be coming out very soon. So you guys don't get a hiatus, but I do. I'm going to enjoy this 2-week break from podcasting. Fucking hell. Thanks for watching, guys. End this shit.